So I've made my woman, and now what I'm doing is I'm putting pink on the back side because pink probably represents the best color for me. Vibrant, live, bold. Oh, I love pink. And I'm going to take, this is my little lady here that I've created, and she's holding up, although she's not completely dry. I used a hair dryer to dry her, but you could actually bake your person in the oven if you want to be able to keep her. But this is what I want to do for my page, and it's enough. If art is three-dimensional figures, all right? It doesn't have to be to create a page, but it's kind of on my heart that I would like to create a page just to help me remember this as far as my application. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use her like a stamp. We'll see if this even works out. And I'm pushing her down here with all of this color. And I wish you could see her details up close. I'm really thankful that God didn't let me make myself. Because you know what? If God was to let me make myself, oh my goodness, it would be an really bad. Especially after I see what I came up with here. And then I've just pushed her down, smushed her in to get here. And now I'm going to be lifting her up. And again, this is just going to be, if I can get her up here, a representative page. And it's just created just a little bit of a splotch of a person back there. And so this is probably not going to do exactly what I wanted unless I put a good bit more of this pink on here because it is drying like crazy tonight on here. All right, so now I'm putting it and I'm spreading this because I need it for her legs. I got to get her legs down. And you know what I love? The reason I'm showing you this while I'm actually doing it is because the reality is things don't always turn out, but then you've got this opportunity to experience God giving you a whole other idea for what maybe you could do. So now I know it's going to take a good bit of paint if I want to use her. It's kind of like a stamp to just kind of make an impression to go along with this. And I'm going to take the other end, get up the excess, so she'll still look like she has arms. And now I'm going to try it one more time to see. Let me get an extra pink off of my hand. I am getting pink everywhere. Okay, I'm going to flip her over here. So here she is, my lovely little lady with pink oozing out of her armpits here. And now I'm going to put her down. And we're going to try one more time. And push, push, push to see how does she work to actually serve as a stamp. And I don't want to leave her there very long because now what I want, oh, that went so much better. And I can see anywhere it's not coming through, I can smush it just a little bit more. So now I've got both my little lady to remind me, and I've got this little ball right here that's just on there. And I'll tell you, the big thing that really has stood out to me about this time going through, as I'm looking at it, and I'm talking about application now, while we're creating the page, you can be thinking and say, okay, God, what different do you want this to make in my life? And you know, sometimes as you're doing these things, you're going to come up with multiple applications. Like for me, one of them happened while I was actually creating her. And that was just to thank God. Thank God for the unique way, for all the care that He put into actually putting me together. But another thing that really stood out to me was how God said it's not good for man to be alone. And yet He didn't immediately solve the problem. Or I should say, He didn't immediately provide what was going to totally totally bring resolution to the issue. Instead, it seems like we get into this other side little story here where he's bringing animal after animal to man for man to name. Now, you could camp out in there as to God's purposes for why he did that. Maybe it was giving man an opportunity to discover the work that God had for him, to get to experience working with God, to develop his relationship with God before God brought a woman into the picture to bring completion there. Or was it God, through delaying in doing that, was growing the man's appreciation when the real thing actually came, so that he could appreciate this woman for the unique, wonderful gift from God that she is? Well, I don't know about you, but for me, right now, I'm going through a time where we're getting ready to sell our house and move all the way back to Florida and have to look for another house. And, in Debbie's plan for my life, I'd like this house to sell quickly. I'd like us to be able to find something, us to be able to pack up and move and get there. All, and, just nice and smooth, nice and easily. That is not usually the way moves happen in our lives. And it's so good for me to just be chewing on this idea. There's purpose in everything God does. Could God send a buyer for our home out here in Colorado Springs immediately? Yes, he could. But so far he hasn't. And there's purpose in the delay. He's delaying because he loves me, because he knows what's the best. He sees, and maybe it's going to be, I'm going to appreciate even more the house I end up in because I had to wait for it. Maybe we're going to end up in an apartment or somewhere else in kind of an intermediary stage before we finally end up where we're going to be. I don't know, but God knows. And can I trust him that everything he does is good? That's what I saw in Genesis 1. And he's a God who is so hands-on in caring for me, caring about the details in my life. And I'm his workmanship, created in him to do good works. He's prepared in advance, and he knows what I need to be able to do that. He knows where I need to be. And let me tell you, as I'm sharing this, I am talking to myself here. May my heart be able to rest in that. So my big application from this is to really give thanks. Thanks for how God has created me and the care that's gone in, because I saw how much work it was just to create the external of this person, and I didn't even get it very good. But also to give him thanks for the delays that he allows, realizing he's got a good purpose, and I'm going to be so thankful later. In faith, let me thank him for it now. Well, what about you? What's your application from your time in the Word, from this picture of God that you've seen, him being hands-on, up close, personal, where it kind of fleshes out a little bit more in detail what took place just in 2 verses in Genesis 1. Oh, how I pray that you will have a good time creating a special page to remind you that application God's given to you, and that you will do it, that you will seek to be an effectual doer of what he's laid on your heart to do. And as you do, you'll experience him more and draw closer to him and experience even more how incredibly loved you are. To think I can even see love in him delaying us and moving. That is definitely a different love language than what I'm used to. Oh, God, help us all to learn to understand your love language so we can recognize it as you're lavishing your love upon us every single day, even in ways we might not expect.